Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Monday, the 26th of August 2024, the year of 1,000,000 transactions per second or more. Experience the best of both worlds today at betbitcoinsv.com, the best casino and sports betting on chain. Have a little flutter in private using the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Right, let's see what we got in store for us today. Had some great responses from this post that I put out earlier. We'll just go through those. Another post from Elon Musk that's getting a lot of attention. This video here has got 4,498 views on it. Jeepers. Gonna have a laugh at that picture. Then just going to discuss this article here about how the Rumble's boss departed from Europe after his Telegram CEO arrest. And again, you know, relating that to what's going on with Bitcoin and this, Illuminati triangle. Then we've got a little bit of Bitcoin history and we'll just run through some figures before we end the show. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1,000,000 strong, them transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Here we go. Right, so I put this on earlier because I saw this picture and I was just like, this is fantastic, and aptly described it here. So I've said here, an illustrated example of why Satoshi Nakamoto selected to create all genuine Bitcoin legacy addresses that run on Bitcoin's original protocol to begin with the No.1. And here we've got a picture of, I think that's Henry Ford with his Model A No.1. So it's like the first, original and only. Completed on August 20th, 1927 is what that says. But again, because it was the very first Model A No.1, it was the original one, first one off the production line, it has the No.1 because it shows it was the first one. And this is why Satoshi Nakamoto chose the No.1 for all of the genuine Bitcoin legacy addresses. So from now on, anybody who wanted to create an alternative protocol would either have to use letters or like an alternative number. But the No.1, which is the first in line, has already been taken, and that only exists on the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Now we'll just go through some questions here because there are some really, really good responses to that. So let's see what goes on here. About legacy addresses, show more replies. Here we go. So AllHeart08 said, in my mind, if the legacy wallets can hold an altered Bitcoin to BTC, the alterations could have been planned from the start to support it, ? So I said, to be categorized as a commodity, the Bitcoin protocol must be set in stone from the very beginning of its creation and must never change. Any fundamental changes to its protocol result in a visible change to the structure of the legacy address. All genuine Bitcoin legacy addresses begin with No.1. And I went on to explain more about this. Here we go. Show more replies. I responded to quite a few on this one. Here we go. Actually, we'll go on my profile and replies. Quite a few good. I actually worked out how long it would take BTC to pick up on all of this. So we'll just start as low as we can. Here we go. So we just went over that one. And I'd said here to other responses, to somebody who was asking about BTC beginning with No.1, I said there are BTC coins with No.1, like the No.1 beginning with the beginning of the legacy address, but they are now on a completely separate chain with a severely restricted transaction capacity designed to encourage users to send transactions using an alternative SegWit protocol that changes the legacy address. And this means that they are literally using an altcoin, which is what the SegWit protocol is. And I said BTC devs have also developed their own centrally controlled second layer to purposely starve the BTC miners of the block fee, which means when the block reward continues to get cut in half, the miners will eventually no longer be able to sustain themselves, causing a network collapse. And that's exactly what's going on. Another response here to the same chap saying, if the longest chain is known to be the valid chain, does that take priority over the number 1 on being authentic? Or do they assimilate into BSV chain and change the legacy address? Because BSV capacity is the elephant in the room in my mind, or does SegWit control them indefinitely? So I said there is simply no way for BTC to catch up with the length of the Bitcoin BSV chain. The Bitcoin chain is right now 10,140.49 gigabytes longer. So that's 10 terabytes. So 10 terabytes, 140 gigabytes. Whew. Longer than BTC. Average BTC block size is 1.5 megabytes produced every 10 minutes. It would take BTC 1,286 years to grow that much, and BSV is still accelerating. And we can actually see the numbers here. Let me go to more details, and it will tell us. I mean, the numbers just staggering. Look at that. There we go. The Bitcoin BSV blockchain has grown by 10,140 gigabytes more than the BTC chain. Honestly, when you look at these figures, you realize what's going on. Like, oh my goodness me. Also another question here. So it's like the number 1 are the original, but the longest chain is recognized as the valid chain. So BTC and BSV are both kind of original within certain circumstances, if I'm thinking correctly. So I said BTC, as Gregcoin, has a soft 1 megabyte block cap. If they were to hard code the block cap in, then it would result in a change to the legacy address. But a common network cannot have any limitations or restrictions, because if it did, then it could be controlled via manipulation. And again, we see that happening on Gregcoin all the time with, child pays for parent and replaced by fee and just all these ridiculous, solutions, if you want to call it, for what they come up with. And it said, so BSV can correct the BTC and Bitcoin Cash mistakes and unite them into one. I said, unfortunately not. The chains will be economically outcompete one another, and everyone will eventually use the network and chain with the most economically efficient speed, cost, and scale metrics. It's a winner-takes-all, zero-sum game. And I did actually write an article on that, on the speed, cost, and scale. I said, this is why every and all effort on behalf of the investors in the network, the miners and payment processors, are put towards improving speed, cost, and scale. The reason investors put their efforts towards these three things is that the reward for the services they provide is in Bitcoin itself, which is why they want to do everything to actually increase the utility of Bitcoin, because that's what increases the value of it. You want to increase the value of the coin. So if you simply make the coin more useful, more people will use it, and that's what increases the value. And the way you get more people using it is by increasing the speed, cost, and increasing the speed, reducing the cost, and increasing the scale. That's how Bitcoin works. It's an economic model. And he's also said, wow, it's so interesting to be in this knowledge stream of the crypto world. We can see that BSV is the obvious winner of the race, but the propaganda is so heavy around it. I'm honestly disgusted with Michael Saylor representing an intellectual pushing the BTC. And I've simply said here, Saylor has no idea about SegWit or the politics that went on prior to him getting involved. He simply read the white paper and assumes that BTC follows it. He's going to be pissed when he finds out what's gone on. And BTC maxis are already anticipating it. And I've linked to a video there saying, Samson Mao going on about, are you going to be prepared to take Saylor down if he chooses the wrong side, if he goes on the side of big block Bitcoin? Of course it is, because there is no second layer and there's no SegWit in the white paper. Bitcoin is the foundation layer of the future of all. Bitcoin is the foundation layer of all future digital technology, secured and underpinned by economic principles. Everything has to be on the base layer. That's what Bitcoin is all about. And somebody here has also said, good question here. It's a serious question. Can you strongman the saving everything on one chain argument for me? It seems an intelligent solution in the long run. So I said digital data is simply too precious to lose, especially if you are a tech co like Facebook, Amazon or Apple, Netflix, Google, etc. Centralized servers are the weak spot for any tech co. Now all their digital information can be secured on the Bitcoin network for far less than the cost of running their own vulnerable servers. And he said here, the amount of data stored will be staggering and will be very expensive and inefficient way of storing it. I understand that all of the data is secure, but does all the data need to be? The history of everything on one ever-expanding list on a database seems unnecessary. And again, you can look at section 7 of the white paper about saving disk space, pruning and all that. But I've said companies will be economically incentivized to do it by competing for Bitcoin, along with a desire to structure their own data records. And again, I mean, all of them. I mean, imagine the size of the servers that Google and Apple and Facebook have got. It's just all these large companies. They will all be running on the Bitcoin network, and in order to run on the Bitcoin network, all of their business on it, they will turn into mining operations, because they will have all of their own services on the Bitcoin network because they're digital corporations. So they'll be turning into nodes themselves. Yeah, be huge. But that's the way it's going to grow. Let's see if there were more replies to that. Yeah. So there we go. Quite enjoyed that one. And there was another post here by Elon Musk. Check this out. So he said here, what's a scam that's so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore? And he said, fiat currency. Absolutely fiat currency. It is securities fraud that has been normalized for everybody. How crazy is that? But that's a great post. Now check this out. This post has now got 4,498 views. Check it out. Here we go. Let's just play this for everybody.
At InChain, we've just funded a number of universities doing, so far, a test up to 1 gigabyte because it validates what we've already done independently. We've tested up to 380 gigabyte blocks. We've tested 1 million transactions a second and transaction sizes up to 20 megabytes. Super complex scripts, basically ones that can run operating systems. That's all of global commerce times about 50. On top of that, we can have complex scripts. On top of that, with payment channels, we can scale each of those transactions 1,000 times, which effectively means about 1 billion transactions per second, which means we can then have all derivatives, all complex trades. That means high frequency trading. It means everything that happens globally.
There we go. All derivatives. It's going to take on the market cap of the derivatives market. High frequency trading, you see all those traders, in London and New York and all that, doing high frequency. All this is going to be on the Bitcoin network because digital data is simply too precious to lose. And it's going to be far more efficient to actually have it on the Bitcoin network than it will on their own, than it will the cost of servicing and maintaining their own server network. Everything will run on Bitcoin. The entire world will run on Bitcoin. As Daniel Kraut said, hyper-Bitcoinization is what is coming. And check this out. So we went over this article here yesterday about El Salvador and how they've got this, we all know what the triangle there represents with this kind of like eye in the middle of it of a B. But check this out. I mean, look, they're showing you in front of you. They're literally being brazen about it. They're like, yeah. They're telling you that they've corrupted it. And they're telling their members that they've corrupted it, telling their members to stay away from it by putting this huge sign on the front of this, on this BTC machine should say, stay away from BTC. That's what it means. It basically means we've got our clutches into this. We have corrupted the shit out of this. You do not want to be holding this garbage. That's what it means. And those, I suppose, normies not really going to have a clue really what's going on. But check this out. Good grief. This is making big headlines at the moment. Rumble boss departed from Europe after Telegram CEO arrest. Rumble founder and CEO Chris Pavlovski, and again, Chris Pavlovski has already been petitioned by the UK government, and we know the UK government's being criminal. Saying, oh, yeah, you need to do this, you need to do that. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. The government is a corporation. They've got no authority whatsoever. And what they're trying to do is clamp down on freedom of speech, to help this totalitarian one world government come into place. But he's departed from Europe after French police arrested Telegram's CEO and the country threatened the video sharing site. The founder and CEO of Rumble, a YouTube alternative, billing itself as immune to cancel culture. And again, I mean, they've been attacked and hacked loads of times. said he has departed from Europe after Pavel Durov, the CEO of encrypted messaging app Telegram, was arrested. And I actually edited a video on Rumble the other day, and it was deleted, literally. So, you know, this lot are working for Rumble, deleting videos that they don't want people to see, you know. Quotes here: "I've just safely departed from Europe." Well, don't speak too soon, mate. Chris Bavolsky, a Canadian national, posted on X Sunday, August 25th. He claimed France had threatened Rumble and had crossed a red line by arresting Telegram's Durov. In November 2022, Rumble blocked access to French users, claiming the country's government had asked it to remove certain Russian news sources, which it said would legally challenge. In May, Pawlowski also claimed that Russia blocked Rumble because it refused to comply with their censorship demands. Oh, it's outrageous. It's just meant to be a free speech platform. What world are we living in? It's nuts. So he said, "I'm a little late to this, but for good reason. I've just safely departed from Europe. France has threatened Rumble, and now they have crossed the red line by arresting Telegram CEO Pavel Durov, reportedly for not censoring speech. Rumble will not stand for this behaviour and will use every legal means available to fight for freedom of expression in a universal human right. We are currently fighting in the courts of France, and we hope for Pavel Durov's immediate release. We're currently fighting in the courts of France, and we hope for Pavel Durov's immediate release." And again, this is what's going to be good about the Bitcoin network, in the fact that it is a common network. It's a common network where data cannot be cracked, hacked, altered, changed, or deleted. You know, and even if there is something that needs to be like hashed, so there is a double hash function on it, you would need to get a global jurisdiction and consensus from all the miners to agree to do it, and it would also be exceptionally costly to do so. But it's basically, Bitcoin is a free speech platform for the entire world to use, rather than these centralized platforms where all they have to do is put a little pressure on the CEO of the companies. But I mean, at least Rumble went public, you know, so they've got obligations to the shareholders, so therefore the CEO can just use that excuse. And again, yeah, that's how this lot get in control of the companies. They encourage them to go public, and then, because they, you know, in bed with the banks, they can just print as much currency as they want and purchase the majority shareholding. So he did not share what country he had left, and his current whereabouts. Rumble did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Rumble is a video sharing platform based in Florida and Ontario. It is known for its more lenient content and moderation policies compared to larger social media companies like Meta and Google, and has attracted a significant following, particularly among conservative users. Durov, a Russian-born French citizen, was arrested by French officers on August 24th. I mean, it's outrageous, it's 2 days ago, at Paris Le Bourget airport on a warrant issued by the country's judicial police based on a preliminary investigation, according to multiple news reports. The police investigation is reportedly focused on Telegram's alleged failure to cooperate with the law enforcement and lack of moderation for crimes on its platform, including child sexual abuse content, drug trafficking, fraud, and terrorism. Trumped up charges, if you ask me. In a statement, Telegram said it abides by European Union laws, and its moderation, quote here, is within industry standards and consistently improving. It added that Durov has nothing to hide and travels frequently in Europe. It added that almost a billion users on Telegram as a source of vital information, and it was absurd to claim that the platform or its owner are responsible for abuse of that platform. French authorities have not publicly released a statement on Durov's arrest, but are expected to do so on Monday 26th. So that's today. See what happens. Scary times we're living in at the moment. Talking about times, let's have a look at a little bit of Bitcoin history. And check this out. I had a massive result yesterday. So somebody encouraged me to use the Wayback Machine, and we found this on Segwit. Check this out. So this was the article that I was actually trying to find. Where it says 3 years ago, Segwit had its first transaction. Where did it go? On August 24th, 2017, an update of the Bitcoin protocol called Segwit, Segregated Witness, had its first transaction in block number 481824. Confirms AML and analytics platform supports Segwit transaction. So for the 3rd year anniversary, we decided to take a deeper look at the first Segwit transaction and where it went. Peter Wolf finished his work on Segwit. So he finished his work on Segwit in 2015. So he was working on it way before that. And 2 years later, his work gave the potential possibility of modifying the signed transactions to the Bitcoin protocol. This is mainly why the effective block size is increased without having to increase the block size limit, thanks to downloading the signature data from the Bitcoin transaction. So again, what they're doing is removing the digital signature from the transaction data, which is fraud because it's a digital signature. So it said here, digital signatures can take up to 65% of the block. In practice, this allows more transactions to be stored in one block, thereby increasing the throughput of the entire network. Yeah, but no signatures on it, so therefore you don't own or control it anymore. Digital cryptographic signatures, which take up the most space, are kicked off the block. Again, so they're not in the block, so I mean, it's Blockstream are downloading them. And their size does not count towards the SegWit compatible block size, with the added benefit that it supports the creation of second layer protocols such as Lightning and Web. Again, completely centralized networks, so they don't need any signatures running on them because they're centrally controlled. When we take a look at the first SegWit transaction in the transaction hash, you will find an encoded sentence in a hexadecimal format. After decryption, the message states Bitbank Incorporated Japan supports SegWit. Confirms analysis using our CoinFirm's analysis using our AML and analytics platform shows that the address beginning with 3DDK is the first address ever that sent a Bitcoin to a SegWit address. This SegWit address to which the funds were sent is owned by Bitbank, and we assume that the 3DK address is also related to Bitbank due to various aspects, including the fact that the transaction consisted of a message proclaiming Bitbank's support for SegWit. Since its launch in 2017, the popularity of SegWit has been rising. Well, that's because popularity has been rising. It's because you're reducing the transaction size, so therefore it's more likely to go through, less cost. With the rise of its popularity and more blockchain-related service providers and leading companies in their industry, segments such as CoinFirm are providing the capability to service SegWit transactions. Yeah, but they're economically worthless because there's no signature on it. They're literally, you cannot prove who sent it or who's received it. Therefore, you have no claim on it. And that's the bit they're not telling you. It's outrageous. So we did, I missed out this, but on the 25th of August, so it was the anniversary of this, when Winston Churchill ordered 100 bombers to go and bomb Berlin, Germany, for the purpose of provoking Hitler into start bombing London in order to bring the USA into the war. This was followed by a direct Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December 1941 that eventually brought the US into the war. 25th of August 2010. Again, I think we went over this yesterday. So 26th was a quote here from Satoshi saying, any backup stroke process procedure would just be a stopgap until there's time to probably work on coding solutions in the software. We can try to use words to help the situation until code gets there. Let's have a quick look at that. So this was to do with an alert. There we go. Development of an alert system. And he said that he controlled it. Getting there soon. Oh, Heizuku. I might actually put that one in August 22nd. Yeah, great. We'll leave it there. Right. There we go. Let's have a quick look at the figures. 24-minute show. We'll just rush through these. $45. Hash rate 0.1. Network nodes 0.21. Transactions 63%. It's ahead of Gregcoin. That's just on 36. And block size back up to 72 with Gregcoin just on 26. Nice blocks coming through there. 35, 32, 75, 80, 96 megabyte. Largest block there. Good. It's currently 59,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gregcoin. But it's a 64.5% comparable loss mining on Bitcoin in comparison to mining that shitcoin, which is Gregcoin. All right, yeah. Interesting hash rate on Fisher Price Cash there. Let's just check the mining on Bitcoin. Tau being squeezed down to 43%. Couve up to 33.7. Well, they're loving this. They're giving Tau a run for their money. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I might have to look at the hash on that. Wonder if they're increasing their hash. QD Link 18.62 and Gorilla Pool being squeezed down to 4.1. Let's have a look at Bitcoin versus Gregcoin. Yeah, just going up and down there. This is Bitcoin versus Gregcoin. So Gregcoin just winning over the last couple of days. But there we go. We will leave it there. That's 25 minutes. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy these updates, please ding your donations for your appreciation to either satoshi@sentby.com, handcash.io, simply.cash, related.com, rockwallet.me, or senti.ch. We'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it as ever. Be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.